Hi, my name is Ben Sutter III, and I'm founder and owner of BS3 Radio. I've been podcasting for 5 years, and with BS3 Radio, it has grown to over 46,000 listens and downloads. I've helped hundreds of people to start a podcast by giving them the knowledge, tools, and confidence to be successful. Now I'm here to help you do the same with BS3 Coaching. So let's build a successful podcast. I will be your podcast coach. We'll be able to work one-on-one. I won't be giving you a booklet and just telling you to look over it, but we'll be working one-on-one, side by side, to either help build up a successful podcast or to take your podcast to the next level. So click the link above or below to check out the pricing. I look forward to working with you, and God bless. Welcome, everyone, to Late Night with BS3. And on tonight's show, which is entitled March Madness Show First Round, March Madness is officially here, and we are ready for some more March Madness. And I had games yesterday, games on Thursday, the first round kind of playing games, and then we have games tonight. So tonight we may or may not have some guests with us, but we'll be talking about our brackets. We'll also be talking about how they're busted already, and we'll be taking any questions or comments that you have. You can definitely chime in on how your bracket is and how your bracket is doing. I already made all my picks, and yes, my bracket is pretty much busted already. If you're watching, shout out to my man Chief Rock of Jersey Vern. He said, Ben, I am 21-29. Wow, Chief. Shout out to you. I am not doing that well. And I will be pulling up my bracket here in a minute so that you guys can see it. But how's everybody doing? How was your week? How was your work week? We're into Saturday, so hopefully you've had some time to relax and chill and enjoy a lot of these games. Breaking news and an update: Iowa just beat Virginia, the reigning national champion. Now, obviously, with COVID last year, it shut down the tournament, so we didn't really have we didn't have the tournament last year. But Virginia was the reigning champion. Excuse me, and they are out of this thing, which that's wow. But this is upset time. We all know when it comes down to this tournament that there's going to be upsets. We also had Oral Roberts. They upset. Let me go to my sheets. Where are they? They had an upset against Ohio State, which that was another surprising one. But yeah, Ohio State. And this is the time that we're in right now. There's going to be upsets. There's going to be these things that are going to happen. That's what makes March Madness fun. Ohio. So Ohio upset Virginia, and Ohio State got upset by Oral Roberts. It's a crazy time right now, man. It's a crazy time when it comes to this tournament. You always know you're going to get the upsets. You just don't know where. And I think that is always the hardest part. That is always the hardest part about this tournament, is that you don't know where the upsets are going to happen. You think you may know, but 9 times out of 10, you will not know. Shout out to those of you that are watching on Facebook, those of you that are watching on YouTube, those of you that are watching on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Also, make sure to click that bell. Be on top of all the content that we are putting out here at BS3 Radio. And, much love to everybody tuning in and checking us out. We appreciate that. We also appreciate the love and the comments that you put out. Also, you can donate to BS3 Radio. You can help support us with super chats and super stickers. That's right down by the chat box down at the bottom. So you can support BS3 Radio that way. We appreciate that. So the first round of this tournament, Lucas Gunn, favorite YouTube channel. I appreciate that, Lucas. I appreciate that, man. I try to put out, different content, not just sports, sometimes funny stuff. That's why we do some of everything. So we do sports, we do music, we do life, we do comedy. And that's what we try to do here on this station. So I appreciate that, Lucas. How's everybody's bracket? Chief says 21 and 29. So his is not busted yet. Currently, right now, we have 2 games on. We got Gonzaga up 43-23 over HBCU Norfolk State. We also have UCLA and BYU. We have Abilene Christian and Texas going to be coming on here in a minute. But this is, besides Christmas, honestly, this is the most wonderful time of the year. This year right now, right where we are right now, just because you could watch basketball literally all day. Now, a lot of us got to go to work, so we may not be able to necessarily do that, but you get to pretty much watch basketball all day for the past 2 days, which always makes this extremely exciting. So I'm going to pull up my bracket here. Those of you that do want to join in, let me go ahead and share this link right here. I don't mind people joining in. Let me share the link that I'm getting ready to post. I post it right now in the different chat rooms. If you want to join the show live, we'll be on probably till 11 Central or 12 Eastern. So whatever time you happen to be, whatever location you happen to be in, you can join the show with this StreamYard link that I'm posting right now. It's posted on YouTube. It's posted on Facebook, the BS3 Radio Facebook. So join in. As long as you got a good internet connection, you can join in on the conversation and what we're doing. All right, so let me pull up my bracket. It's busted, and we did a bracket league. BS3 Radio did a bracket league. I believe I'm in 9th place currently right now. Let me go through the standings here to give a shout out to all the guys that joined in to this. My man Will Walker, he's a part of BS3 Radio. Nithin Ramachandra, he is 2nd. Jameis Jeter, he is 3rd. Spice Girl, aka Mocha Bella, she is in the building. She is right there in 4th place. We also got my man Blake Cochran. He writes for Keeping It Hill. He's actually the editor. Any North Carolina fans, he's the editor of KeepingItHill.com. That guy is on point with what he does. I'm a Tar Heel fan, ride or die. We did lose. I picked him to beat Wisconsin. Obviously, Wisconsin took care of business. And this North Carolina team is really not the same, in a rebuild. And I say this all the time. North Carolina goes through constant rebuilding of their teams, constantly. They're not going to be good every single year. It's virtually impossible for them to be that way. Shout out to all the guys that make sure my audio is good. But North Carolina, they lost. I was not expecting them to go past the 2nd round. One of my friends, and he's a host on BS3 Radio, my man Al High, gave me a little bit of confidence and said, go ahead and put North Carolina in there past Wisconsin. Obviously, he was wrong. I was wrong. I was leaning towards not picking them, but sometimes you get that fandom in you, and that's what ended up happening. Also, we have Justin. I'm not sure what his last name is, but Justin is in 6th. James of the Ear Hustling Podcast is 6th. Courtney Harden, thank you for setting up the bracket challenge. He is in 8th. My pops is in there as well. He is 8th. I'm 10th. We have Evan 10th. My man Tyon Mack, one of my best friends, he did not complete his bracket, so he is in 12th place. But as of right now, I have 16 correct. Will Walker has 23 correct. He is at the top of the leaderboard. We are going to do this show every week. So if you want to join in, let me know, or else I will post the link. But quite a few upsets. Some things you already know is going to happen. Some things you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the fun about this. That's the whole fun about this bracket and about March Madness, is that you're going to have those times where your team is going to get upset. Sometimes your team will win. Sometimes your team will lose. So let me pull up my bracket. I'm going to share my screen here so that you guys can see that. Not impressed on how it's going so far, but this is March Madness for you. You're gonna get exactly what you pick, and you cannot change it. So when you do these bracket challenges, you cannot change it. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. Deal with it like a man or a woman. So let me share my screen here so I can show this to you guys. Make sure I'm on the right screen. All right, that is the wrong screen. That's showing the kind of the rankings on where we are, how everybody's doing in their brackets. But that's not the correct screen. Let me go back to my bracket so I can show you how I did. And we can talk about it and conversate about it. Again, let me know how you're doing. As of right now, like I said, we got Gonzaga 43-23 over Norfolk State. Shout out to the HBCUs. I went to Morehouse College, so that is my alma mater. I got a lot of respect for the HBCUs and what they do, because it is not easy at all being a HBCU school, especially, when you don't get a lot of the funding, when you don't have a lot of what other schools get. All right, so here we go. So here's the current bracket on what's going on right now. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. I know it is pretty small, but got Gonzaga going on right now with Norfolk. I end up picking Missouri, and you see what happened there. Oklahoma ended up getting that win. It's kind of hard to predict, obviously, what's going to happen. But again, when you're going through these picks and you're picking these teams, you just don't know who it's going to be. You just really don't have a clue, because it could be one of those teams that'll just make an upset, and then you'll be shocked, and then you'll be surprised, like a lot of people are. So let me pull this up a different way, because it's pretty small. You probably can't really see it that well. But so let me go through my picks. I had Gonzaga moving on. They're playing right now against Norfolk State. We'll see what happens there. I had Missouri going ahead. They end up losing to Oklahoma in a close one by 4 points. When it comes down to it, a lot of these teams, they come into the tournament and they're just not ready. I mean, it's just sometimes the way it happens. They're not fully prepared and they're just not ready. And that's tough. That's tough for some teams, especially when you don't have maybe one of your star players playing. Maybe you may not really be ready, and that brings up an issue. So here's my bracket right here. All right, I'm trying to share this, and I'm messing this up horribly. All right, so let me just go through the bracket, and I'll bring it up in a second. So Oklahoma, I had them at Missouri going across. That didn't end up happening. You have Creighton versus University of California, Santa Barbara. I had Creighton going across. That one was correct. Virginia and Ohio. Ohio ends up winning that game in a close one, 68-58. Ohio with a big win. They deserve it, man. You work hard and you surprise other teams. You know, you gotta get your props. You got to. I think that's just fair. That's fair game and that's fair play. And I think they played extremely well. And just sometimes it does not go your way and the ball does not bounce your way. So Ohio, big win for them. USC versus Drake. I did have USC going ahead there. Drake lost 72-56. Kansas, I had them going ahead. They have already advanced. Oregon and VCU. That was a interesting situation. That game ended up getting canceled, and Oregon's going ahead by default. Oregon's going ahead by default, and that sucks. You know, let me share my screen one more time. But you know that sucks for them because they're trying to, you know, do what they can for their squad, and they just weren't able to do it. And it really sucks to be in that situation. But, you know, again, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. And I think when it comes down to this, you know, this type of tournament as well, without having, you know, a lot of fans, that's also has been, I think, creating some issues for these teams. I mean, they're used to playing with fans there. They're used to playing in packed arenas. And I think that has also, you know, created some issues for these kids as well. But much respect and love to them. You know, they're trying to do their thing, and it's just sometimes does not work out for you. So we have, you know, a lot of games still left to go. We're at the very beginning of this tournament, and as we continue to go down the list here on how everything is going with each team. And I apologize. I'm gonna try this one more time to share the screen so you guys can at least see kind of what's going on with the scoreboard. So let me pull this up. All right, so you can see here kind of the current scores and what's going on. So right now we got Norfolk and Gonzaga. Actually, let me refresh that. Okay, did it already. So 43-23. We got UCLA 34-23 over BYU. We got Texas and Abilene Christian. I'm expecting Texas to make sure that they pull this out. But we'll leave that up, and then I'll continue to go through my bracket and let you know how I'm doing. So here is my bracket right here. So you get the full view of that. Hopefully you can see that clearly. So Gonzaga's on right now. I already talked about, I picked Missouri. That didn't work out. Creighton, I did pick them. That did work out. Did not pick Ohio. So that one did not work out for me. And let me pull up my exact. Now I'm in 10th place, as you can see. Looks like I'm just further dropping down the list, and a lot of people's brackets are just already busted. But that's what happens. That's just what happens sometimes. All right, USC, Kansas is there. Oregon moves ahead without actually playing a game. VCU looks to have some issues with the coronavirus and some situations that they had going on. Also, Iowa goes ahead against Grand Canyon. I was expecting that one. Really, there's no surprise there. So that's in your West. Now let's go to the South, and South already there. Baylor did advance. I was expecting that. I was expecting my Tar Heels to advance. That did not happen. They end up losing to Wisconsin. So Wisconsin advances there. I picked Winthrop. Somebody convinced me into picking Winthrop. I'm not going to call any names, but Eric DeWalt. Eric DeWalt of the Eagles versus Everybody show that's a part of BS3 Radio. I'm calling him out right now because he went to Winthrop and he was extremely high on his Winthrop Eagles, and obviously that didn't end up working out. So thanks a lot for that advice. Thanks for not coming through. So Winthrop ends up losing, so I missed some points there. North Texas with a big upset. I had Purdue, so I missed both of those. Which that's, that just sucks big time. Both of those right there I missed. Moving right along, I did have Texas Tech. I did have Arkansas, as you can see there. Those two are in the green. Coming back down to here, I missed out again. I had Virginia Tech. They didn't come through for me. Florida ends up winning that one. And obviously, I didn't have Oral Roberts. Who had Oral Roberts? Somebody raise your hand if you had Oral Roberts, which I'm sure you probably didn't. And if you saying that you did, I need you to show some homework. I need you to show some receipts. But Oral Roberts with a big win. Shout out to them. Let's move down to the East. We got Michigan going ahead. I expected that one. LSU going ahead. I expected that one. Once again, if you're just joining on, let me know how your team is doing or has done, or they may not even be in the tournament. And that's just a fact. There's a lot of teams that are not. Kentucky for the first time in a long time. Duke for the first time in a very long time. I mean, this is just crazy times right now. As much as these blue blood schools, some of them just fell off this year. And, it's just sometimes it happens. And obviously with COVID going on, people don't like that excuse, but it's affecting teams differently. This is true. It's affecting some teams differently than others. So let's continue to go along through. This is my bracket right here. I had Georgetown winning. I was expecting Georgetown to win. They came really running into this tournament. Did not end up working out. Still, shout out to Patrick Ewing. I will be, a fan of his forever, even though I wasn't a Knicks fan. But Patrick Ewing, one of the greats. Florida State did advance, so I had that correct. BYU's playing right now. They're down by, what is that? It's 9. So we'll see what happens there. I got Texas advancing. I had Connecticut advancing. That didn't end up happening. Maryland ended up taking that spot. And then Alabama, I had them advancing. That one did work out. Let's go over to our Midwest side of the bracket. And we have Illinois. I was expecting that one. There's really no surprise there. Shout out to my man Chris Morning. He said, "What's up, man? Been a crazy tournament so far. Might get an unexpected winner this year. It could happen. That definitely could happen." Now I'm picking the Gonzaga. As you can see on my chart right here, I got Gonzaga and Illinois, and I got Gonzaga winning. And Gonzaga, if they don't do it this year, I just don't see it happening. This is the best possible year that it could happen for these guys. This is the best possible year that it could happen. There was one year that they ended up going to the national championship against my Tar Heels. Obviously, that one did not work out. But man, at the end of the day, they have the team this year. And if you don't do it this year, I don't know what to tell you. Plain and simple. I do not know what to tell you if you cannot win it this year. And it could be, to Chris's point, it could be a team that we're not expecting. It could be one of these teams in the teens, or even lower possibly. I mean, who knows who it could end up being. But I think that is the greatness of this tournament. That is the pure greatness, and you just never know who. You just never know which team it's going to be, or when, or how it's going to be. But that's what makes this. That's what always makes this tournament one of the best things in sports. And rewind back to last year. That is one of the reasons how I knew for a fact that this virus was real. I knew for a fact that coronavirus was real when they canceled the NCAA tournament. At that point in period, I figured, okay, like this thing is not a joke. You think about how much money these schools make. It is not. I knew at that point in time that this is not a joke. Excuse me. And this is not something to be playing around with when they canceled it last year. All right, just trying to get the show shared out to all the people. And if you guys are tune in, join in the conversation. Let me know how your team is doing, or how your team did. And what's going on. So as we continue to go along through my bracket, you can see it. This is my actual bracket, and it is busted. You see all this red here? That's all of my wrong picks. So Illinois, I had them winning. I had Loyola, Chicago winning. That was no surprise there. I did have Tennessee winning, and obviously Tennessee got upset by Oregon State. Another one of those that I ended up getting wrong. Hey, I'm straight up honest. Oklahoma State, I had them advancing. Syracuse, I had San Diego State advancing. And shout out to one of my best friends, Trina Brantley. Her husband works at San Diego State. He is the health and conditioning coach, I believe. So I was rooting for them. Syracuse ended up winning that game. I did have West Virginia going ahead. I had Clemson going ahead. Rutgers ended up winning that game. And I had Houston going ahead. So that is the first round of my bracket so far. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. We'll see what other possible teams and opportunities I may have. If you guys want to join in, here is the link. You can click that link over on Facebook, on YouTube, also on Twitter. You can join in on the conversation and join the show live. I would love to get your thoughts and opinions on how you're feeling so far. Is your bracket already busted? Are you doing well in your bracket? How's it going? We got a few games on right now as well. I'm looking forward to the remainder of these games. We got games on tomorrow's too. And I think this is only going to get better. And who knows, we may have an unexpected champion this year. I think it could definitely happen because a lot of people pick Gonzaga, and myself, I pick Gonzaga. But again, you just don't know. You cannot, with a straight face, say what's going to happen because you just frankly do not know how it's going to work out. So I'm going to continue to go through my bracket, also keep you guys updated on the scores. Currently, we got UCLA, BYU. UCLA is up 31-21. That's another potential mistake that could cost me again when it comes down to it. I have BYU winning, so BYU's got some ground to make up. We got Norfolk State and Gonzaga 43-23. And then those are the two games we have on right now. The other games will be tomorrow, and then we got Texas and Abilene Christian that just started. A lot of people are high on this Texas team, and we'll see, what happens with them. But let me bring up that's the scoreboard right there for Gonzaga and Norfolk. And then here's your full scoreboard right here, as you can see. Or actually, you can't see because I don't have that up yet. But I will pull that up here in just a minute. But yeah, we got the first round down. We got the next slate of games coming up tomorrow. And the most wonderful time of the year right now is going on right now. I was really hopeful for my Tar Heels, hoping somehow, some way that I knew they weren't going to go on a run, but at least I was expecting them to get past, the first round. Looks like we are in the second half of Gonzaga and Norfolk. It's 47-25. Shout out to the HBCUs, like I said. Sometimes, man, they can make it, maybe get a run, and sometimes they end up getting knocked out. But I'm always going to ride for my HBCUs. BYU, they're down at halftime. Abilene Christian in Texas is kicking off right now. So also tonight, while we are talking, we may get into a conversation on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which came out this past Friday. So Marvel's kicking off another set of another show. They got WandaVision, which I thought was great when you got towards the end. Obviously, the first couple episodes was a little slow, was a little, where's this thing going? But once they got the thing going, I felt like they did a good job of bringing it around, having the extra special stuff at the end of each episode. That's one thing that Marvel does a great job at. All right, so let's get into the next part of my bracket. So obviously, I had Gonzaga and Oklahoma. That's not going to happen. Well, I had Gonzaga and Missouri. Now it's Gonzaga and Oklahoma. So let's look at our West bracket first. So I do have Gonzaga coming out of the West bracket. I had Virginia. That part got squashed. I do have USC and Kansas. We'll see what happens. I got Kansas going ahead. I got Iowa going ahead. So in the Sweet 16 coming out of the West, I have Gonzaga. I had Virginia. That's wrong now. Kansas, Iowa. Then in the next round, I got Gonzaga and Iowa, and I got Gonzaga coming out of the West. This is their year. Like I said, if it wasn't it wasn't or it isn't a better year than right now for them to make it to the Final Four and win this whole thing. Jalen Suggs, one of the best players in the country. I mean, if there's anything about this kid, which I did some research on him, that he played football as well in his high school, and he had a scholarship for football, but he decided to play basketball. And what a better name, what a better opportunity to put your face on the big stage and win this whole thing. So shout out to Jalen Suggs, a very exciting player. He will make it to the league. I think he's already projected to go pretty high in the draft. Shout out to a couple people that gave us some thumbs up. Walter Strong, also Togo Coles and Orlando Page. Thank you guys for giving us some love over here on the show. We appreciate that. But let's continue to go along through my bracket. I got Gonzaga coming out of the West. I have Michigan and LSU. When it goes down to the East bracket, I got Michigan going ahead, Colorado and Florida State. I had Florida State going ahead in the Sweet 16. I also have Texas and Alabama going ahead in the Sweet 16. And then in the Elite Eight, I've got Florida State and Alabama. That still has a potential to happen. And then I got Alabama going to the Final Four. I think they can do it. I think Michigan is gonna miss. And again, I was listening to the Casual Highlight with Al High. He was really breaking it down extremely well. Let me pull my bracket back up here so you can see it. He was really breaking it down, and I think they're gonna miss Livers, the freshman. So I think that's gonna end up hurting them. So yeah, I got going to the Final Four. I do have Alabama coming out of the East, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I got Gonzaga and Alabama here. As we go back to our south side of the bracket, I got Baylor coming out, and their road is they're going to beat Wisconsin. Excuse me. I had Winthrop going ahead. As you can tell, that didn't end up happening. North Texas. So both my South bracket is busted all the way. But I had Baylor and Purdue in the Sweet 16. And then I also had Arkansas and Ohio State. That's not going to happen. So Baylor and Ohio State will not happen at all. So that's gonna screw me up pretty bad. But I do have Baylor coming out of the South. So that can still happen. That's a good thing. I have Illinois coming out of the Midwest and their road to the Final Four. Let me scroll down here so you can see that. I have them going through Loyola Chicago. I have them also going up against Oklahoma State. And then I have them facing Houston in the round of 8, the Elite 8. And then I have Illinois going to the Final Four. Bracket is busted here too. It's it gets real in the field sometimes when you filling out these brackets. So my Final Four, as you can see up at the top of the shared screen, is Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, Illinois. That can still happen. None of those teams have gotten upset yet, so that is a good thing. As you're tuning in, leave us a comment. Let us know how you doing. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to be on top of everything that we are putting out here. So Gonzaga, Baylor, Alabama, and Illinois. When it comes down to it, I have Gonzaga and Illinois, two of the best teams in this tournament. And then coming down to it all, I got Gonzaga winning this thing. I was very reluctant at first. I had Michigan, and then when I looked a little bit further into it, with Isaiah Livers being out, I think that's gonna end up hurting him. Even though I am a fan of Juwan Howard and what he's been doing at Michigan, I just think it's gonna be hard to get the win, especially when you're missing, one of your key guys. Let's take it back to the scoreboard. I got the screen shared so that you can see it. So here we go. Here's the current scoreboard and the current games, the 3 games we have going on right now. Gonzaga putting it on Norfolk State. UCLA up by 11 on BYU. I did have BYU. And then Alabama Christian and Texas going on right now as well. So we got 3 more games on tap, and then we go into the games for tomorrow. So let's pull up the games for tomorrow as well to give you guys a preview. These are the games on tap. As you can see, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers and their biggest fan. I'm drawing a blank on her name. Oh, yeah, Sister Jean. Sister Jean looks like she will be in the building. 101. She picks Loyola over Illinois. Looks like she has her bracket filled out. She is 101 years old. Shout out to Sister Jean. Man. So that is going to be a primetime game on tomorrow. Got Wisconsin and Baylor tomorrow. Got Syracuse, West Virginia tomorrow. Texas Tech, Arkansas, Rutgers, Houston, Oral Roberts, Florida. That should be a good one. Oregon State, Oklahoma State, North Texas, and Villanova. That should be a good one as well. So we do have some good games on tap. Let me pull up. Let's pull up the stats here. Norfolk State and the Gonzaga. And as of right now, as we look at the top scorers, we have K. Hicks. Let's pull up his exact name. Kashawn Hicks. He's got 8 points. Also, J.J. Matthews has 8 points. Devontae Carter has 5. Going into this, they had to know this was going to be a hard-fought game. And Gonzaga being the favorite, they were going to have to work extremely hard to try to get there. And we have 21 points as we look at by Corey Kispert. We got 12 points by Aiton Watson. Jalen Suggs has 2 so far, seeming to not have a really good game right now. And then Drew Timme with 10. So that's your scorecard there. At UCLA and BYU's at halftime right now. And here's their scorecard. You can see what's going on so far. Jay, what's this guy's name here? He got 19 right now. Johnny Jusang got 19 points for UCLA. BYU, all of their players are still in single digits besides Alex Barcelo. He's got 9. So that's your stat sheet there. And then Abilene Christian in Texas going on right now. One of Texas' top players, Andrew Jones, he has 6. And Texas could be one of those possible sneaky teams to end up going on a potential run. So you definitely got to keep your eye out for Texas in this tournament. So as you're tuning in, leave a comment, like, subscribe, click that bell. Let us know either how your team is doing in this first round so far, or if your team even made it. A lot of teams did not make it this year. So let's talk about some Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was a new series right now on Disney Plus. I watched the first episode. I'm not really a comic book, guy. Not a comic book guy at all. So I don't know the backstories of a lot of these guys, but I would say that it was good to see the backstory on both of them, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, seeing, the Winter Soldier being in therapy, seeing Falcon's, relative, his sister and his nephew and niece. I mean, I thought that was really good to see. And I think it's going to be I think this one may be better than WandaVision because there's not going to be that lull like before this whole thing gets started, before the meat of the thing gets started. I think we're going to see a lot more. And I think things are going to happen faster than what things happened in WandaVision. So I think this one's going to be better, faster than WandaVision. So we'll see if I'm correct. We'll see if I'm maybe wrong. But Marvel's doing they're doing their thing when it comes down to these series. And I think the best possible thing that could have happened was them combining and getting their stuff on Disney Plus, because now that gives them the avenue and the possibility to be on everything and to be in front of so many different homes too. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of what this new partnership has given them, is the ability to be on different avenues and be in front of different people that they maybe would not be in front of in the past. So I think that's a really big thing when it comes down to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and even what they have coming up in the future, because Marvel, I think they've already, taken advantage of the movie side of things, and now I think they're going over and tackling the TV aspect of it, which I know a lot of people say that when it comes down to that DC is doing a better job with that. But Marvel, Marvel's putting this I think this great content out there, and you gotta pay respect to these guys and what they're doing. So I'm gonna pull up an image here of phase 4 of what Marvel is going to be doing, just so you can see what I'm talking about here. But yeah, they're honestly, they're knocking it out of the park right now. As you guys are coming through, thank you for tuning in on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Like, subscribe, click that bell. Let me know how your team is doing in this first round. We got UCLA up 43-29 on BYU. I had BYU winning. It doesn't look like that is going to work out for me. Just has not been a good day when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Just has not been that good of a day. But I'm sure a lot of people are all in the same boat. I'm sure they're all experiencing some of the same things that I am. So let's bring up let me share the screen again and bring up the phase 4 so you can see what's coming up next in Marvel. We're kind of switching gears and talking about some other things. But you can see here Black Widow, what they have coming up next. Also the Eternals coming up, WandaVision that's already came out. And this actually is a little old. We haven't had Black Widow yet. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier out. Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange is going to be coming out again. What If, Thor, Fantastic Four, Blade was announced, which I'm looking forward to Blade. I think that's going to be a good one with Mahershala Ali. So yeah, that'll be another good one to talk about and see. And let's bring you back to the scoreboard as we are talking about the first round, which the first round will be locked up. Yeah, the first round will be locked up tonight. So if you're not doing that well, I definitely understand. A lot of people aren't doing that well. A lot of people did not have North Texas. Some people had Utah State. Nobody, and I don't know who, but I'm sure a lot of people did not have Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts with a huge win, man. With a huge win. North Texas, and I'm in North Texas, so they came through with a big one. All right, we got somebody coming through. My man Courtney Harden. What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I thought I was gonna be going solo dolo tonight.
I saw you was on. I was watching the verses, Raekwon versus Ghostface. That's my New York era. So I said I gotta watch that. And then they just got done. So I said I saw you were on. I was like, I gotta get on and help and just get on and just chop it up with you. So how you been?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Appreciate you for coming through.
Yeah.
So how was it though? I didn't catch it.
It was good. It was really good. It's funny to bring back all those memories of you were a Wu-Tang fan, and it was really good to listen to all the old songs. Even though I don't listen to any of that music anymore, but it was good to just remind you of how good that music was back then. Growing up in high school and being such a huge fan of them, it was just good to hear a lot of those songs. But they did a real good job, man. For them to be like 50 years old, they still doing it big, man. But it was a good verses.
Nice. Yeah, man. I didn't realize there were 50, but yeah, obviously I'll be 40 in a year. So I mean, they got to be 10 years about older, but
at least,
man,
right?
Ghostface, man, Ghostface killer, man. Yeah, he has some classics.
Yeah, they were playing all their classics, and because I'm 41, so just listening to all that, it was good to reminisce a little bit on that. So, but it was a good versus.
Definitely. So, how's your bracket so far?
Oh, it's not too bad. Just because I had stopped watching. At first, I was like, okay, my first day, I was 9-7. So I was like, man, I missed like 7, teams or whatever, 7 games. And I was like, okay, I got to do really better on this one. So looking at the brackets, I think I'm like at 62%. So it's not too bad. I'm in a couple of leagues, so I'm doing pretty well. It's going okay. There's some teams like Purdue out and USCB. I had them going pretty far. It's okay. I'll say that it's like an average bracket right now, but I still got my Final Four in, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Shout out to my man Tracy Porter. Let me know how your bracket is going. If you did fill out a bracket, some people maybe didn't fill out one. I know my dad at first was like, "I'm not gonna fill one out." I was like, "Hey, just go ahead and join." He was like, "I'm just gonna guess like everybody else." Pretty much, man. If you're not following college basketball, you're probably gonna end up just guessing at what you think's gonna happen. And
Yep.
that's just the overall, real of the whole thing. Man,
Yeah.
Oral Roberts out of nowhere. I don't know who picked or anybody that would have picked Oral Roberts unless somebody that went to that school. But that one threw me for a loop. I don't know how shocked were you on that one.
I was kind of shocked. I mean, Ohio State, reading when I was doing all the research to do my brackets, it was some people actually had Oral Roberts saying that this could be an upset. I'm like, I don't know. As much as Ohio State was inconsistent, I think they should still beat them. But man, I mean, it's March Madness. I call it the madness of March all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is. And the way they handled Ohio State, I mean, they was beating them throughout the game. I know it went into overtime, but it was one of those things like Ohio State just could not hit shots in overtime, and Oral Roberts just took it to him. And so I mean, I'm surprised a little, but the way Ohio State played all season, they got hot towards the end of the year. They took Illinois in the Big Ten Conference. They took them to overtime and almost beat them. So I figured, okay, they'll go on a run. They'll at least get to the 16. But that was a little bit of a shocker.
Yeah, that one caught me off guard, and then the North Texas one too. Which I mean, I'm if there's anybody that could have paid more attention to North Texas, it would be me because I'm in North Texas. But
right.
Honestly, I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was like, man, it's Purdue. It's the Big Ten. They've been, they're heavy, hot and heavy in this tournament as a whole. So expecting Purdue, North Texas gets that win. That one was surprised too. Did you have North Texas by chance?
No, I had Purdue. All the way into the 16, going against Baylor. Then I had them getting bounced out in 16. So that North Texas one was a big one. It's so funny. Like you always supposed to. There's always upsets. Like there's always a 12 versus 12 usually beats a 5, or 13 beats a 4, or something like that, or 11 beats a 6. But for some reason, I never picked the 12-5. Never picked the right upsets. I try to pick the right ones. I never picked the right upsets. Like I said, USCB from today, Creighton beats them by 1, which was crazy. But Ohio beat Virginia. I did get that one right. And I thought Georgetown, being hot as they were going into the tournament, I figured, okay, they're getting hot at the right moment. They win the Big East tournament. They should be able to beat Colorado. They got stomped. They was getting stomped from the beginning, but they're 13-12 for a reason. And maybe that's why, I jumped on the bandwagon, I guess, of Georgetown getting hot at the right time, but they just couldn't pull it off. So that was another one that kind of took me by. So, did not take me by surprise, but, Georgetown 13-12 for a reason. But yeah, North Texas, that to me, that was the bigger shocker than even the whole Ohio State and Oral Roberts one.
Yeah, and Tracy Porter says my bracket got a little busted with Georgetown and Purdue. Yeah, I was expecting Georgetown with them going on a run, and like I said, I'm a fan of Patrick Ewing. I wasn't a fan of the Knicks, but it's Patrick Ewing. You got to have some respect for him. But I mean, they went on that run, but like you said, they had that record for a reason.
Right, and I had them beating Colorado and losing to Florida State, so I figured they'll get the one. And a lot of the people that predicted, a lot of the experts were saying that Georgetown maybe get this one and then maybe losing to Florida State. So, but they seemed like once they got down by like 15, I was watching that game earlier. They got down early, and I'm like, they don't have enough to pull it off. So, I mean, Patrick Ewing, he got them into the tournament. They won the Big East tournament, but maybe they'll be better next season.
Yeah. And as far as the Oregon and VCU, they declared it no contest as COVID-19 positive advances Oregon. So it looks like the Rams of VCU had too many positive tests.
Yeah.
And actually, let me share the screen real quick. I can pull up the article. But yeah, that I was, honestly, I figured that this was going to happen eventually because it was already kind of like writing on the wall, like, hey, if you can't take care of business,
Yeah.
or if you happen to, maybe do something wrong, which I don't know if VCU necessarily did something wrong, but I do know that obviously it ended up getting canceled. And this was the article about 3 hours ago. It came across my timeline, and I was like, man, they're the first team. I mean,
Yeah.
I figured it was going to happen, and it said the Division I men's basketball committee has declared VCU Oregon game canceled or scheduled for Saturday night. No contest. And when that happens, obviously the other team's got to move ahead. You can't. They're
Yeah.
not giving redos, and they're not going to reschedule games. So it's tough for VCU, especially with this is your opportunity, especially if you got seniors. I think that's probably the toughest part.
Yeah, and I saw that too. Like I saw that earlier, and I was like, "Oh!" So I, pulled up the article and kind of looked at it. And it's like, "Oh, okay." VCU, they had multiple COVID, like 19. People got tested for COVID, and I'm like, "Wow, okay." What did they do, or it was just one of those things that just happened? And I know I had Oregon winning, and I got Oregon in the Elite Eight actually. So beating Iowa, beating Kansas as well. That's how I got that, and. But I know Oregon didn't want to get to the next round like this.
Yeah.
But, now they got to kind of regroup, and they got to play Iowa. That's going to be a tough game. Iowa's number 2 in the West Regional. So Oregon's tough. They're 20-6. They're a tough team. I think they can get on a run if they can get past Iowa now. So they got to just regroup and now play Iowa, I think on Monday. So they got to be ready. But yeah, VCU, it's tough because COVID is still running rampant. It's still out there. It's not like, like these teams can't avoid it, unfortunately. And, it hit Kansas, it hit Virginia, it hit some teams before the tournament. So this definitely can happen, and it can happen. It's bad if it happens like during the Elite Eight or the Final Four. That would be the worst case scenario. Would they forfeit and let the other team just go through? If this the case, or will they actually wait for a week, which I don't think they will. They'll probably just have to just let them go through and get to the next round.
Yeah, and Tracy says I'm a big Georgetown fan. I had them to the Sweet 16. Yeah, I had Georgetown. Let me see where I had Georgetown going. I had them going to the next round, but I had them losing to Florida State. I think Florida State's obviously the better team overall.
Yeah.
And he said, "Wow, that's what happened." Yeah, that's what happened to VCU. And I hate to be negative, but I don't think this is going to be the first and only time. Just because this thing is rampant. We've already learned this, that it's not just going to go away. It's not just going to, it's not just going to disappear. This is the real deal thing about it. So we may see this happen again. Tracy says Norfolk State is getting smashed by Gonzaga right now. Yeah, they're no match, unfortunately.
They was about like 50.
Yeah.
I just looked at
79 to 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is that's bad. Let's just be honest with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an HBCU, and who I just don't think they have anyone to match up against Gonzaga.
No. And then the funny thing is the number 1 seeds, Illinois, they crushed Drexel. Drexel gets in. It's the crazy thing, being in Philly and Drexel, they were like excited. Like that's the first time ever since I've been here. Drexel's been bad. I've been in Philadelphia the last 8 years. They've been terrible. So I think this is their first tournament since, I think, getting into the NCAA since 2005. I could be wrong, but I think it was something like that. It's been a long time since Drexel made it. So Illinois took care of business. Michigan took care of business today as well. Gonzaga's definitely taking care of business by 50, almost, or 40 points. And Baylor, they beat Hartford earlier too. So the number 1 seed's looking very strong. They did what they were supposed to do and took care of business. But Gonzaga, man, this has got to be the year that they actually can either get to the championship or win it, either or. And if they don't do it now, with a season like this, I don't think they might not ever do it. And we've seen some good Gonzaga teams before, and some are saying, a lot of experts are saying that they're the best team. Like, this is the best team Gonzaga's ever had. And with all the stoppages and COVID and things like that, it's a different type of season. But Gonzaga went through 26-0, and they could actually. They're one of the better teams. I got them in the championship, but I got them losing to Illinois. But I think they can. They're possible they can actually run the table.
Yeah, and I picked Gonzaga. I was very reluctant just because they've had seasons like this before, and you're expecting them to do it, and they just don't. So I had them in a previous year, and it didn't work out. But I think this is their year. Illinois obviously could do it as well. Let's bring the scoreboard back up. You can see 86-39 right now.
Yeah,
not going well at all. Also, I had BYU, and BYU's down right now by 9, and then you got Texas up by 5. So, did you have BYU or UCLA winning?
I actually had BYU, and I thought when UCLA beat Michigan State, because I thought Michigan State was going to actually pull that off, and then I was going to have Michigan State just advance against BYU. So, but I had BYU advancing as well, and it's not looking good for them. So we'll see if they can pull it off. Being down by 9.
Yeah. We'll see. We're talking about the first round. We'll be doing this show each week, so we may have a kind of rotating guest of who's coming on. But let's see, Ohio. Did you have Ohio?
Yeah, I actually did.
You did?
I got that. That's one of the upsets I got. I figured with Virginia, they lost a lot of time because of COVID. They had to get. They was out of the ACC tournament because they had some players, and I guess players had COVID, so they didn't get it. They had a quarantine, so they didn't get a chance to even travel until like Friday. I think they got in town on Friday, so no practice time, nothing like that. So I figured that would hurt them, and it did. So Ohio, they pulled it. They pulled off the upset, and I actually did pick Ohio over Virginia.
That's nice. That is not who I had, obviously. Again, another bracket buster. But you really made a great point. Like, these teams, with them not having enough time to prepare, could definitely cause a problem, because this is, if you just think about any sport, it's repetition, it's practicing, it's getting your body ready, it's getting yourself prepared. It's all of that practice, all of that stuff goes into how you perform in the game, and obviously that was a concern, and they won by 4. It was a close game towards the end, but shout out to Ohio, man, big win.
Yeah, huge win for them, and just the way, like I said, this is just the way this season has been, and just in all sports really. COVID has taken over, and if you don't have time to prepare, like I said, to travel, and then they get in Friday and they got to play Sunday, they don't have the time to really. And like you said, they came and they played well. They played as well as they could without much practice time and being quarantined. And Ohio's a good team. They were 16-7. Virginia's 18-6. So it's just, they both had almost similar records. I just took in the fact that, and I thought even with Kansas, I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off. But I do have Kansas in the 16 just because they actually have a chance. Kansas is still a good team, and they usually go on a run anyway just because they got great coaching and everything too.
Yeah,
so Bill Self. Yep. So real good coaching, and he'll get his guys prepared. He had them prepared today. I mean, they was in a dogfight, but he had them prepared against East Washington. I picked Ohio over Virginia.
Man, congratulations to you on that one.
Yeah, got one of them right. One of those upsets, right?
Right. It's always so hard to pick the upset. You just don't know which one it's going to be, and you don't know which one is going to bust your bracket. But Tracy said, I'm shocked at how UCLA is playing, but it's March Madness. Yeah, I'm shocked too. Obviously, I was expecting BYU with them being the better ranked team, but obviously you just don't know how things are going to go. Excuse me. And this is the thing with the seedings. I think the seedings can be misleading. They can really be misleading, because you could say, oh, well, it's what is that? Number 11 versus number 6, but they can be two comparable teams just because they have never played each other this year. So like that is always a thing that I think I always get caught up on because you don't know a lot about these teams. You do some research you can, but you just think like whatever these seedings are, they may not be right. They may not be deemed well for who they actually are as a team.
Get right, because you had somebody like Winthrop who was 23-1. They were 12th ranked against Villanova, who's 16-6, but it's just a bigger conference, and their competition and things like that. Winthrop just they were just good in their conference. So if you're a smaller school in a smaller conference, and the seedings can be very misleading. And I know when some people do their brackets, just of all the years of doing brackets and being in all these pools and things like that, it's, some people look at the records, but you got to look at who they played, strength of schedule, their their division, their conference, and things like that. So if you take that, you got these big Power 5 conferences that those are usually the ones that are higher ranked. But you can't sleep on teams that, even though they're playing in these small conferences and these, they're small divisions, they can still, they're still a legit college basketball team. And that's when you get all these upsets, so it can happen. They catch you on the run. That's what it's about March Madness. If you have one bad game, you're done. It's not like the NBA where you can lose game 1, but you can adjust and win the series. And I think that's the huge difference in with March Madness. Because like somebody like Syracuse and San Diego State was higher ranked, but Syracuse is in the tougher conference, and Syracuse took it right to them. And Syracuse is one of the Power 5 conferences. So yeah, it all depends. You get somebody like Loyola Chicago, who 2 years ago went to the Final Four, Cinderella team, and now they got a real good shot. Like if they upset Illinois, my bracket's done because I got Illinois winning, and I'm scared for this game because the reading it was saying the Loyola Chicago, this team was even better than the Final Four run that they had 2 years ago. That's the difference. Like if they beat Illinois, would it be a surprise? Yeah, it'd be a surprise to us because we're like, oh dang, Illinois, they're one of the better teams in the bracket. But Loyola Chicago, if they beat them, it wouldn't be that much of a surprise because if they're a better team than they were in the Final Four, that means they should get to the Final Four again. So it's very misleading sometimes with these rankings.
Yeah. Very good point. Strength of schedule plays a big role. Yeah, that's 100% correct. Because if you're, and the other thing is about this, when it came down to the season, a lot of these teams were playing only conference games. So if you're playing like Lehighs of the world 4 times, like that means really nothing when it comes to you playing a Michigan or you playing one of these other teams. So yeah, that makes a really, really big difference. So we also had Maryland and Connecticut. I had Connecticut winning, again, one of those seeding situations, and Maryland ended up getting the win. Who did you have in that one?
I had UConn as well. I mean, this was a closer matchup, one of the closer matchups in the bracket, and it's just one of those things that's like, UConn, Maryland, kind of a coin flip, and I did have UConn coming out of that. So shout out to Maryland, and they were 16-13, so they got to play a full schedule, and they got in just because of the conference they're in. It's one of those things. As you said, if you're playing in a tough conference, they're in the Big Ten now, so you're playing a tough conference, the Big Ten, with Michigan, with Illinois, with Ohio State, with Michigan State. You're going to get there's going to be those type of games where you're competitive. So Maryland's been through the ringer with the Big Ten, so not surprising they beat UConn, but I did have Connecticut at least just advance to the next round.
Yeah, and it's this is catching obviously a lot of people off guard. I did have Alabama being a football school, and they really seem to be playing hard, and they may have a potential chance to make a little bit of noise here. So what's your thoughts on Alabama? Where you have them going?
I got them in the Final Four. I got them losing to Gonzaga in the Final Four. I have them and Florida State in the Elite Eight. I got Florida State beating Michigan, and then Alabama beating Texas in the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16, and then Alabama beating Florida State. Yeah, Alabama, like it's like you said, it's a football school. Like that's what you hear. You hear Alabama, you hear Nick Saban, you hear about Alabama winning all these championships, but never thought they would be, dominant in college basketball. So when I started really because when the season started, I was like, the season's going okay. I'm not really. I started paying attention like around February. And I was like, okay, let's see who's the top schools, who's the top teams, and it was like Alabama. I was like, wait, what? Alabama 24-6? Like this is football. Like, okay, let me see what they do. And reading about them and things like that, they're dominant. They're really good defensively. I heard and they hit big shots. They hit shots and 3-pointers, and they're good. Like I said, just a good team. So in this and then these regional, they could, like I said, they could actually make noise. They get past Maryland, and then whoever comes out of the BYU, UCLA, Texas, around there. Yeah, Alabama's got a real good shot to get to the Final Four.
Yeah. And Al High says Alabama is coming. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said I didn't even Alabama had a good basketball team. A lot of people. Probably not even the people that go to Alabama thought they had a good basketball team. If everybody was honest. I posted a link there, everybody. If you want to join the show, join in, give us your comments and your thoughts. Alabama is known for football. That's facts, man. That's what I said. The football school is really what they truly are. All right, let's go. All right, this is the one that I'm going to ask. I don't know what you're going to say, but did you have North Carolina or Wisconsin?
I had North Carolina, maybe just by name recognition, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's funny because both of these schools, Wisconsin and North Carolina, inconsistent run. There's a lot of teams that are very inconsistent. North Carolina 18-10, not a typical North Carolina year. They started slow. They started very slow.
real slow.
Yeah, Wisconsin 17-12, another Big Ten school. I mean, they played in a tough conference, so they've been through it. Straight schedule was great. So, but I figured North Carolina, they played well down the stretch. They played decent in the ACC tournament. So, this was one of those 8-9 matchups, which is, I think those are the better matchups. They're usually a coin toss. So, but I had North Carolina. I didn't think they were going to get beat like this, but they got pounded, man. I know that's your squad and everything, but
I'm not shocked though.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, they started slow. It wasn't one of their typical good years, but I didn't think it was going to get beat like this. But I did have Carolina getting to this next round and then losing to Baylor.
Yeah, I had them going to the next round and losing to Baylor too. I just thought that they were going to at least get past Wisconsin, but this is a flip of the coin. Yeah, these games. Also, North Carolina, they don't have that true star. There's no guy on that team that you can say this guy is going to get drafted. The first 10 picks. They had Cole Anthony last year. He was injured, throughout the year. This year, they really don't have that one guy. I think they got a lot of great role players on this team, and you got to have one guy. And they just didn't. And it was an up and down year, and that's just that's the truth of it too. So we'll see what happens. Going into next year, because when it comes to recruiting, obviously they're going to have a good recruiting class, but what are they going to do when it comes to these hard times? Because it's just been a rocky year.
Yeah, and ACC in itself has not been a good year. I mean, look at Duke's not even in. It's like Duke's not in. Carolina's kind of was up and down, and Virginia looked like a really good team, but even then, towards the end of the year, they were struggling a little bit. So yeah, Syracuse was up and down as well. So it was a very up and down year for the ACC. Florida State, they look legit. Florida State looks legit in ACC, and Georgia Tech went down. So yeah, it's just up and down year for the ACC this season.
Yeah. Let's go to. I didn't have North Texas. I don't know. Did you have North Texas or?
No, I didn't have North Texas at all. No, didn't have North Texas. I had Purdue going to 16.
Florida, Virginia Tech. I had I have Virginia Tech because Florida was missing one of their top players, the guy that went down with the heart condition. But now when I think about it, that guy wasn't playing the entire year, the most part. So they probably, figured out how to play without him. And so who'd you have in that game?
I have Virginia Tech too. As you said, Florida was another team that was just up and down, but kind of got hot at the end of the year. Another coin flip of the records. You just look at the records: 14-9, 15-6. But I have Virginia Tech. I had them winning, but Florida pulled it off.
Yeah. These teams are kind of coming out, not really coming out of nowhere, but they're just playing better than the other team. And again, the seeding can be misleading. There's 7 and then 10, but that's another flip of the coin. 8, 9, 7, 10. Even if you go, those are flip of the coin type games. There, 7, 10, and 8, 9. It could go either way because they haven't played each other, so it's not as if they know what each other is going to do. So that gives them. Oral Roberts, we already kind of touched on that one. Tennessee and Oregon State. Who'd you have there?
I had Tennessee, and something told me that Tennessee was going to get beat, and they was getting beat down at one point. And reading some of the commentary and things like that, some of the articles about Tennessee, they were saying how they could go on a run. They were good enough to go on a run, or they were bad enough to get put out in the first round. So I probably should have listened to they should have been put out first round. But I had Tennessee. I didn't have them going far. I had them losing to Oklahoma State anyway in the next round. But it's one of those teams like you trust them. Like, okay, they can pull off one win. They can get that. But it's that dreaded 5-12 matchup. And like I said, it's hard to pick that. You don't know which one is going to do what. And you picked the wrong one. I picked the wrong one. So, yeah, Tennessee, another inconsistent team.
Yeah. And going to talking about the SEC, man, with Kentucky not being in this thing at all, that's another thing about this wild year. No Duke, no Kentucky. North Carolina goes out in the first round. I believe this was the first time in Roy Williams' career here in North Carolina. So, I mean, it's just so many unexpected, things that have gone down. It just makes it March Madness, the madness of March, like you said.
Yeah, and it's the blue blood schools, like no Kentucky, no Duke. Kansas they didn't have their typical year. North Carolina didn't have their typical year. So it's like, yeah, it was a very. I mean, I'm glad we actually got a tournament, and
we be thankful for that.
Yeah, be very thankful for that. And I know we talked about this throughout the last year and even this year. We didn't know it was going to be even a college football season, let alone a March Madness. And the way it was looking, I was like, man, they're not going to be able to finish this season. Like this doesn't feel right. But watching these games, it definitely feels like March Madness because there's still fans in the stands, not the typical 17, 20,000 fans, but it does feel like when I was on my bracket and we were talking trash at work, somebody had a work league and they said, we got money involved. Like, oh, yeah, this is March Madness. We missed this last year. Be thankful that we have it this year. So I'm like, okay, put my $20 down. Like, what are we going to do? I'm trying to take people money and everything. Right. So, I mean, like I said, my bracket's in the middle right now, but you never know. If I get all my Final Four right, I got a good shot.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking forward to, hopefully, because I have Gonzaga, Baylor, Alabama, Illinois. Yep. I don't know what you got the same thing.
Same thing, and I got Gonzaga, Illinois in the final in the championship with Illinois winning.
Yeah, and like you touched on, which I've said this, before the tournament started. If Gonzaga doesn't do it this year, I don't see it happening ever. And they've had teams like this. They've had, Zach Morrison teams. They've had teams throughout the years where you're like, oh, maybe this is the year. Well, they only lost one game certain years. But with everything that's happened, it's almost like served on a platter for them. If they just play solid basketball, if they do what they did throughout the whole year, they should be able to win this thing. Now, one thing I did realize today is that Jalen Suggs has 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. It looks like Corey Kispert as leading the team in scoring. So I didn't know, if Jalen Suggs was going to be out needed to, pour in however how many a game, but it looks like they got a pretty good team overall. And Jalen Suggs is not the only guy. So that could really work to their advantage.
Yeah, definitely can, man. Like they got talent. Like they got a lot of talent, so they can actually like you said, they can actually run it and really make some noise. So we'll see what happens. Like it's gonna these next. I think when whoever's in the 16, we'll see how the tournament gets. Usually after the first 2 rounds, that's when like okay, the most of the time the teams that are the top heavy seeds usually win. So these bracket busters, man, you just got to get through these first 2 rounds and then get to see what happens, in the Sweet 16 and 8, 4, and then the championship.
Yeah. You got to get past these first, early rounds, and then it seems like you're finally able to get used to something, and hopefully your people's brackets will come out. So we already talked about Syracuse a little bit, Rutgers and Clemson. That's another one. The seedings can be misleading. 7 and 10. I was expecting Clemson to get that being an ACC team. Obviously, Rutgers took care of business there, and then Syracuse. So we got the same Final Four. So we're still in play.
Yeah.
For how things can go. So that makes this still promising for us.
Yeah, and then looking at some of the, I know we're doing our league that we have on Yahoo, and I have a work league. I'm working on. I got another league that I'm in. I just use the same brackets. I don't use two, 3 different brackets. It's hard to keep up with that, so I just put the same brackets in ESPN or wherever. And even like you said, if we get the Final Four, if you have your Final Four teams going, you can advance and keep. I always look at it like this: you're 16. If you don't have all 16, like if you could get like 13 of 16 teams in your Sweet 16, you're pretty good. You're in the mix. Like now, if you have like half of them, you could be on the wrong side of that.
Right.
But I always look at it like you can get 12 or 13 teams at the very least. You got a really good shot. But as you said, Ohio State, you definitely don't. They're I was talking to someone at my gym. She was asking, she said, I know you guys did a bracket or whatever. She said, I had Ohio State in the Final Four. I was like, I had them in the 16 and I had them losing. I actually got Arkansas in the Elite 8. So hopefully Arkansas could pull it off. But I was like, ooh, she said, I'm done already. She said, I don't even want to watch it no more. I was like, I didn't have Ohio State going that far. I ain't had them past 16. So
but I had them in the Elite 8. So that's gonna hurt me. But it looks like it's gonna be up to Florida, and if Oral Roberts, maybe that Cinderella story where they end up going, to the Sweet 16. So that's gonna be interesting.
That'll save. For Oral Roberts, because I don't know how many people picked Oral. If they picked them against Ohio State, I don't know they got them in the 16. So if they could just pull off another upset of Florida, they can beat Florida. That'll save our brackets a little bit, because I know I do know some did have Florida going to the Sweet 16, some brackets, and but if they like I said, Oral Roberts can get in there, and teams like Ohio maybe can get to the 16. That'll save our brackets a little bit.
Yeah, that'll give us some hope there.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go back to the scoreboard. I got that up on the screen. So it is officially over 98-55. Gonzaga went in on Norfolk State. And then we got 2 games on currently right now. BYU is down by 12 now. They're down by 10 now. Texas and Alabama or Abilene Christian is a little too close.
Yes.
It's only 4-point difference there. I'm actually going to try to pull that one up on the screen here while we're talking to see. But don't sleep on any Texas team. Don't sleep on any of them, because even though Texas is traditionally football, basketball is reigning too, and so they got basketball players that come out of Texas that are just as good as anywhere in the country. So even though Abilene Christian is ranked lower, that really means nothing. And This could be a potential upset, a 14-3 upset, which not a lot of people probably had that on their bracket either.
No, then I need Texas to get to the 16 because I got them in the Sweet 16 against Alabama. So, that's too close for comfort right now. But it looks like BYU about to go down because, like I said, there's only like 3 minutes left, and they're down by 12, 10, 12. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, but they look like UCLA is going to pull this off. It's so crazy that UCLA and Michigan State, as we said, two top schools. Yeah. Schools that got multiple champions, like two of the biggest schools that got multiple championships, and they had to do a play-in game this year. That's how weird this season's been. Yeah. Usually they're both in. Like Michigan State's in, UCLA's in, but it's one of those years that it's a crazy year that they had to play in a play-in game, and UCLA's taking advantage, and they could actually get to they can get to the Sweet 16. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them that they get that far as well.
Yeah. It's just wild, a wild year that we'll probably never ever see again when it comes it comes to to this tournament that we know and love. All right, so you got Illinois winning it all, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got Gonzaga, and like I said earlier, I'm reluctant to do it, but if there's 1 year that they can finally get this done and hoist that trophy, this is the year.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I think this is if they're going to do it, it's got to be this year. And like we said earlier, it's been an unprecedented year. They've beaten teams like by double digits. I think they did something crazy. I read I think 22 or 21 games they've beaten teams by double digits or more, and they've crushed teams throughout the year. And they've played a full schedule. They were 26-0. They played just about a full schedule. So, and I know there's always a thing of Gonzaga don't play anybody. Well, they did play some teams. I think they beat Kansas. They've beaten some good teams already. So it's not like they haven't played anybody. They're just better than most teams. And like I said, the only other teams I think that can actually beat them realistically could be like an Illinois or maybe Michigan if they're at full strength, because Michigan they were a team. I know they finished 24. They were one of the top teams before one of their best players went down and with an injury, and they struggled towards the end of the year, but they're a solid team too. So maybe a healthy Michigan team, an Illinois, Baylor maybe, but other than that, there's not too many teams that can actually beat Gonzaga. So Gonzaga could do. It's hard to go, undefeated throughout the year, but this is a possibility that they can actually pull it off.
Yeah. And I had Michigan. I wanted to get your thoughts on that too. I had Michigan, and then when I read on Isaiah Livers, one of their top shooters, that could possibly cost them, because you need. I mean, in this tournament, you need all players on deck. So I got them losing to Florida State. I don't know where you have them losing.
Yeah, I have them losing to Florida State too. And I thought long and hard. I was like, well, okay, Michigan can still pull this off. They can still get to at least the Elite Eight. But you losing Isaiah Livers like that, they lost him with that injury. They said he could possibly play next week, but it's very it's very dicey, and you don't want to mess that man's career. So I got Michigan losing to Florida State in the 16.
Yeah, shout out to my man Vince Wright, the sports governor. He says, "Go Duke." Oh wait, yeah.
Shout out to Vince Wright. Yes.
yeah. We made it. Yeah, North Carolina made it further than y'all. I know it was only one game further. But hey, it's better than nothing, and we will take all victories over.
Yes. And I don't think Duke would have made it any. I mean, they would have to win the ACC tournament. I think they would have to win the ACC, which they possibly could have, but they unfortunately got hit with COVID. They got hit with COVID a couple of times, I think, throughout the year. So, it's just one of those things that you just think that it's just a weird year, very weird year.
He said, "What up from Minneapolis, fellas? Courtney Harden sounds like Dennis Rodman."
That's funny.
What is Minneapolis? I don't think they're not.
Yeah, Minnesota's not in. No, I don't think
so.
Now
it's I wonder, they are doing the NIT this year, right?
Yeah, I saw a game earlier. I wasn't paying attention either. I was turning the team. I was like, wait, I forgot who was playing. I was like, these two teams are not They're not in it. I was like, what's this tournament? It was the NIT. I forgot who it was, but I don't know who's in the NIT. I used to love the NIT back
Yeah,
in
I
the
did too.
day. Yeah, I loved it. Like it was competitive, but I haven't paid attention to NIT in years now. So yeah, I mean, hey, if it's basketball, we usually are watching, regardless of what it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna try. People are gonna watch it regardless. But yeah, NIT is going on, and I know North Carolina was in it 1 year, and they're only doing. It looks like they're doing like a Sweet 16 type
makes
thing. They're not
sense.
doing a full. But yeah, they got some teams in there. We'll see how that goes. We'll probably touch base on that. Give you an update.
Yeah.
Let me see. I like Gonzaga, Illinois. Me too. That's who we
Yep.
both have in our
Yep.
in our final two. No Gophers. We need a coach. You mentioned. Yeah. Who? A lot of teams need a coach. Gov. Who do you have winning? Who you got winning it all? Gonzaga or Illinois? And also, I think North Carolina. Roy Williams can't coach forever. He's got to be. I think he's already in his 70s. I mean, the guy has already had different spouts of collapsing, and what is he, 70? He's 70 years old. So at some point, he's gonna have to retire. And I was thinking about this earlier this week. Maybe I know Jerry Stackhouse is at Vanderbilt. I don't know how good of a coach he really is. So I'm thinking maybe he'll probably get out of that deal to come to North Carolina. No problem. North Carolina can pay the money. Because it will probably be an alma mater. I don't see them going outside of, and just getting some random guy. So I don't know if you got any thoughts on that.
North Carolina, yeah, I think Roy Williams, he's getting up there, like you said, getting up there in years, and you can only coach for so long unless, unless you're like Hubie Brown, who coached forever.
Yeah, and now
I
it's
mean,
commentating.
he's one of the best ever at commentating, and I mean, knows his basketball. He's 90 years old, so
Wow.
he did coach for a long time, and I think he coached till he coached till his 70s, and then became a commentator, one of the better commentators. But yeah, Roy Williams, I wouldn't think like he would be coaching for forever, but some people are just lifers. Like some coaches
Yeah, that's true.
are so they coach for so long, and that's all they know, and that's all they want to do, and they don't know when to give it up. Even like in football, you have like the Bill Belichick's and who coach forever. These guys are in their late 60s and 70s, and they just don't know what else to do. And but yeah, I can see Roy Williams still coaching for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. And Vince says fired Rick Pitino. Yeah, he was hired like the same day by New Mexico, or like
Yeah.
hours later. Like obviously they had a deal already in place. Gophers are going to look at Oklahoma State coach. He says he likes Illinois. I think that's a strong possibility. Marquette fired their coach too. Openings happening. Yeah, that was Wojo. I think Wojo was there at
Yeah.
not the Woj of ESPN, but the
Yeah, not Woj Bomb.
yeah, not Woj but the other. But yeah, he's out of there at Marquette. Let's touch on Cade Cunningham. I watched one of his games in the SEC tournament, and I was like, man, this guy was truly like putting the team on his back. Like it wasn't there was a lot of key shots that he made. This kid's got ice water in his veins. I'm looking forward to what he's going to do at the next level. Obviously, he's going to probably get drafted the first pick, which looks like it's going to be Minnesota. But what's your thoughts on Cade Cunningham?
Yeah, he can ball, man. Like this guy is, like you said, he's got ice water in his veins. Like he can do just about everything on the court. Like he can handle the ball. He can hit tough shots. He can get to the lane. He gets to the line. I mean, I know he didn't have such a great game than this last one, but I mean, he stepped up in the end. Like I think he hit a 3, he hit 4 free throws. I mean, he had a bad shooting night, but he, again, a clutch player, and this guy can ball. So I really like his game, like what he can bring to the game, and he's a baller.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so tournaments going on. We got round 1 or the round of 64. We got Well, round 2 games tomorrow, so that this is already heating up. Let me see. Vince says, look for Indiana to make a secret push for Rick Pitino. So, I guess you're not talking about Rick Pitino. He got Iona in the dance in the first year. Hoosier fans just want to get back on top again, so they will overlook his transgressions. Yeah. Rick, and people were shunning Rick. I mean, he was like going to people's doors. He was going up to the school trying to talk to the AD. I mean, he was that desperate. He got the job at Iona, brought them in, and definitely. Rick Pitino, they will overlook whatever he's done. They will go through the press issue, and they will figure that out with the quickness. And that'll be an interesting pickup. Now, obviously, he can't do the things he's done in the past, but he still got some coaching prowess if he's able to get Iona to the tournament.
Yeah, and he said, I mean, I just reading an article of where Rick Pitino, he said he wants no part of a big time school. So who knows if he even wants to leave Iona is the question. Yeah. Like I know it's right after a tournament game, so the emotions. So he might think back and say, maybe I need to get back into a big school like in Indiana or something like that. But I mean, he got Iona to the tournament. Why not try to do it again? He might do it again and get further in the tournament. Like it might take a couple of years. He's a good coach. Like this, not to discredit what he's done. Like his what he's done, like his transgressions, as Vince Wright said. But you can't overlook that. But he got Iona in the tournament, and you could do it. He can do it again. So I can see him staying in Iona.
Yeah, I think it's a strong possibility. Let's give you an update on the score. 70-60. UCLA is about to win this thing. Yeah. Another bracket buster. Thanks a lot, BYU. And Abilene Christian, 41-36. It's early in the second, so it's still a lot more basketball to play. But Abilene Christian could be upsetting. This will be a big time upset. Against Texas. So we'll see what happens there. Indiana will break the bank for him. It's all about the dollars. Yeah, they will give him whatever. They will give him a blank check probably. At some point, they want to get back to winning. And Indiana really hasn't been good. I mean, since probably like Isaiah Thomas, but it was well before my time. They maybe had some couple of good players. I remember they had Eric Gordon one year.
Yeah.
I think Thomas Bryant, who's in the NBA now, he was on a squad one year, but they haven't had, any top recruits. I think they're missing behind in recruiting. I think that's a big thing for them.
Yeah, Indiana is another team. Like when they're relevant, it helps. It helps the NCAA. This another big school. And when they're bad, they're it doesn't help the NCAA. So they probably do got to swing for the fences and get a good coach. And, the recruiting class, maybe they just don't recruit well. And being in the Big Ten doesn't help much. It's tough. But, if they get a good coach and just get some good recruiting, they could actually be back. They could be back into the mix.
Yeah, true. All right, so I wanted to kind of switch gears. We're both Marvel fans and talk about some Marvel things here. We got about 17 minutes left to talk. Props to Ohio Bobcats today. Yeah, big win for them. Big win for the university. Big win for the program. WandaVision. I don't know if we've talked about that live on air, but what was your thoughts on it? How'd you feel about the ending and the specials of the Marvel that they give you at the end of the credits?
It was good, man. This was amazing. Yeah, I did talk about it. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I had Amanda Smith. She's a huge Marvel fan too. She covers sports and college women's basketball and has her own podcast as well. So I've had her on a couple of times. So we're thinking about doing a Marvel from each show now, doing a Marvel podcast. So so she's huge in it too. So but Not after each episode, but like after each show. But we talked about WandaVision. It was great, man. Like storytelling was good, the writing was great, the acting was really good. So it was a really good show. It was different. It was totally different from what Marvel usually does. You know, Marvel's usually more of a superhero, spy, fighting, action. This was totally left field. Like when this first came out, I didn't know what to expect, and I was like seeing the commercial, like, okay, they're going back in time. They're doing like, you know, like the 60s and 70s and 80s. But it had a purpose. So when they were doing that, it was like, oh, okay. So this is giving you little nuggets of each time frame and what it meant, what Wanda was doing, and things like that. And I'm just, you know, giving spoilers. So if anybody hasn't watched it yet, this is, you know,
it's too late if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since it's been over, but I loved it. I loved everything about it. I love that they broke down Wanda's story and how she was able to, where her powers came from, and it explained a lot with her and Vision and the grief that she was dealing with. I think that's what a lot of things was forgotten in this one, with her grief. Like she lost her brother, her twin brother. She lost Vision. She lost a lot. She was dusted in Infinity War. So to me, it was just an excellent show. And Marvel, again, you know, the bigger fan I am, Marvel just does it again. They always misdirect you every time. You think you know something. Everybody has so many theories and everything. So, and they went different each time, each and every week. So it kept me on the edge of my seat. It was a really good show.
Yeah. So I kind of started off towards, I think it was like the third or fourth episode, because I heard people talking about it, and I was like, I mean, I don't know. It looks old, and the first episode was like, okay, that was pretty bland.
Yeah, weird, right? Yeah. First two
episodes. Then they went from what the 50s to the 60s, the 70s. I mean, and the kids that they had in there, and then the part of the commercials I thought was funny with Stark Industries. That was a nice plug-in. But then probably that third episode, maybe where I seen it, because I think we watched like the first like 3 kind of binge watch style, and then we had to watch it each week. But that third one started to be like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Starting to make more sense. And I love the backstories, because I think that tells you a lot more. And then Agatha. That part. And I always knew it was something weird about her, because she seemed like she was acting. Like everybody else was like brainwashed. She seemed like she was there, just there acting. And Wanda even kind of looked like, were you one of the people that I brainwashed? It was already like a weird interaction. She just kind of showed up, and she showed up at like the perfect time in every single episode. So it was well done. And then when it got to the end, it just has you wanting more. And then I didn't realize there was 2 kind of extras at the end until I like looked up an article, and it was like, yeah, there was 2. So then I went back and like watched you got to watch the credits with Marvel.
You do.
They get you every time with the credits.
Every time, and that's it. Like when Monica Rambeau, when she came, and me and my wife was talking about it, I was like, they're gonna probably do a Skrulls. They're gonna do that. They're going to have the whole Captain Marvel angle with it, and Monica Rambeau got in her powers. I think that was episode 4, I believe, 3 or 4. But you're right. The first 2 episodes were kind of slow. They went back in the 50s and 60s, and then they flipped. Like it flipped to the, to the 70s, 80s, but it flipped to the current time. And it kept going back and forth, which I love that. But I love this, like I said, I love just Wanda's story, how she dealt with her pain and how she dealt with all the emotion. And she just didn't have time. Like she couldn't grieve. She didn't grieve losing all these people in her life, like losing her parents, losing Vision, losing her brother, and all this. And so she just kind of controlled the town, brainwashed the town, and had that bubble, the hex they called it. And it was crazy. And then, like I said, Agatha Harkness, the witch, she came in and she just kind of flipped it. And we were saying the same thing, like she's too nosy. That's what they call Agatha, the nosy neighbor. She kind of flipped it, and that episode, that's to me my favorite episodes, when she has Wanda in her basement, and she becomes the witch, and then she just told Wanda, "You have so much power," and Wanda didn't even know the limits of her power. And as you said, that other ending with her becoming, she's Scarlet Witch now. The comic book Scarlet Witch is so powerful, and that whole thing. So I think it's going to end up with Doctor Strange and all these other things is going to happen. It's going to, Marvel's just pushing the limits, and they push the limit with this show. And it, like, if what's her name doesn't win, at least get something for her acting, played Wanda, it's gotta Elizabeth Olsen. If she doesn't win, or at least get nominated, because her acting was so good, the writing was so good in this. It was just a great show, great episode, great show.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was the Olsen twins' sister. I guess younger sister. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Until I looked it up, because I was like, she looks familiar. She looks like somebody that I've seen before, and it was obviously the Olsen twins are probably the most recognizable child actors ever.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's where she gets some of this greatness from. So I thought the ending was very well done. It had you wanting more, and that's what they do. And then I was like, okay, where's season 2? And then I realized there is not a season 2. That is it. Like, they just give you this. Now, that goes into our next thing I wanted to bring up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First episode. Have you watched the first episode already?
Yep, I already watched that. We've been watching it like when it come out. We watched it yesterday. Did you watch it or?
Yeah, I did watch it. I watched it on Friday.
Yeah, I watched it Friday night. We watched it Friday night, and this is different, like totally different from WandaVision. Totally different. So now they're going back to, this is what Marvel usually does. This is what Marvel does. This is their superhero spy type of like what they do. So they go back. But even with this one, and I don't want to give too much up with this, because I know the ones that are listening probably haven't watched it yet. But this is another one. It's going to break down. I'll just say this. It's going to break down like their development now. So they're going to break down what, Sam, Falcon, and what Bucky, the Winter Soldier, what they've been through, and the pressure of Captain America, and his legacy is on them. Like it's hovering over them, and now they're trying to deal with what's going on afterwards, and after what happened, and Bucky's got to go through what he's been going through. He's been brainwashed. He's done all this killing as Winter Soldier, and then Falcon being Captain America's friend, and now he's got to take the mantle. Too much pressure for him, and I think it was good. Like they're developing this a little slower too, to get to know these characters, because we've never got to see these characters. The only thing we really know about these guys is they were Cap's friends. They were his partners, and and other things like that. So I think they're trying to develop these characters. Winter Soldier, Falcon, and then Wanda, Vision, and now Loki himself. He's got his show coming out too, so we know a little bit. But now they're gonna break this down. So I love what Marvel's doing with these characters, character developing what we want to know about these guys, and so they're stripping them back, and now you see what they can do without someone overshadowing them.
Yeah, they do a really good job at storytelling. And I'm pulling up behind us kind of what's going on in this is phase 4, which it kind of got a little bit out of order, because we had Black Widow that has not come out yet. We had Eternals that hasn't came out. Now WandaVision already, Loki's going to be coming up. Blade, that's been announced, but we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I like the backstory on Falcon, because I didn't really read a lot of the comic book. I wasn't necessarily a comic book kid where it was something I picked up and read. I would look at it to say, wow, that's cool, but I wasn't really the person that would read it. So now it gives me more of a background of like who these guys are. And so now Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this is when Captain America is dead. Now, I'm assuming this is after Thanos, after Endgame and all of that.
Yeah, it's after Endgames, after this, after Endgame when Cap gets, he goes back. He's supposed to put the stones back to their timelines and all that, and he said he wanted to. He basically wanted to live life because he never got a chance. This guy was sleep for 70 years.
Yeah.
He sacrificed stuff for 70 years. He didn't get a chance to even live life. So he gives the shield to Falcon, telling him this is your time, this is your shield. Falcon, I think what they're trying to lead into, like, he's not ready for this. Like, he doesn't want to really. There's only one Captain America. I'm not ready for this responsibility.
That's
It's
not
Captain
me.
America. It's not me. But with the show it's gonna show some stuff like, this guy, like, he's not ready, but he's like, wow, this is. They're trying. The government's involved. Like, I need to get back into this and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's after Winter Soldier. It's after, because it's Winter Soldier, and then you have Civil War, and it's after Endgame. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they're, because this one didn't have a lot of action. Say that, like the beginning did, but
that first like 10 minutes, I'm like, man, it's like an action movie. It was like it was just thing after thing after thing. You're like, man, this is the whole series. But then it slowed down. They got into the storyline part, but the beginning of it definitely will knock people off their socks. So man, Marvel just has this thing on lock, man. DC is trying. I know they had Justice League, the Snyder cut. I haven't watched that yet. I don't know. People have been saying it's like it's like a remake of something, or I guess a remake of the first one.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched that yet.
Yeah, I'm not a huge DC fan either. I've never really been. I mean, I love Batman. I think he's the only DC character I've always liked. But but I heard it was pretty good. They said this was better than the original Justice League. But they said it's 4 hours long. They said it's like 6 parts. I guess it's like 6 parts. It's a movie, 6 parts, but it's 4 hours long. And some people say they should have released this one. Maybe they should have. I mean, because the last Justice League was terrible. Like, the first Justice League was horrible. So, but I think with DC, I think their problem. Now, they got good TV show. They do got really good TV. Their problem is they're trying to catch up to Marvel instead of just doing their own thing. And I think they kind of waited too long when Marvel was doing all these movies, setting up the Avengers and stuff like that. And now you had DC, who was like, "Oh, we got Superman, Batman. We can just put this out." No, Marvel took some time. They developed their characters.
Yeah.
You just threw Superman versus Batman, and it was like, wait, what? Like, how did that happen? Like, what is this?
You just can't throw it together. Like, you go back to Iron Man. What was that? That was in the early 2000s, probably.
Yeah, 2000. It's been 11 years, so that was 2000 and 2010. I think that's when they started with Iron Man. 2010.
2008 was the first.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it took years and just setting things up, and that's the great thing about Marvel is that they don't. It just seems like they don't just drop stuff just to drop it. Like, they could have dropped, like, Black Widow. It says was supposed to come out 5/1. They could have just dropped it. I mean, obviously we had so much going on, so who was going to go see it? But they're going to wait until you want to go see it in the movie. I don't know if they're going to drop that on Disney Plus, because
I think they've been talking about it, and I think they want to give Black Widow, they want to give her just due, because she's part of the original Avengers, and she died in the Endgame, and they have her backstory. They wanted to, like I said, they want to release it last May, couldn't do it because of COVID. We were shut down, and then they said, okay, we're gonna release it in November. Things weren't open. There wasn't a lot of theaters open in last November. So they're like, okay, we're going to push this back to supposed to be May this year. But there's talk that maybe things are opening up now. So maybe they will release it. I think what they should do now, since the movie's been done, they just need to release it, because I'm working forward to this one too. So
just put it on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus and the theaters. Yeah, you can do half and half. You
charge like $30. That's what they're doing for movies. They're charging like $25-$30. People will pay it. Don't worry about the
I'm paying. I mean, me and my wife already said. I mean, that's my wife's favorite character, so she's definitely gonna want to watch that. So we said, I don't know if we're going to movie theaters, but if Disney Plus gets it, we'll pay the $30 so we can watch it that weekend. But in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's going to be on Disney Plus, or a month. It's going to be on Disney Plus anyway. But just so you can watch it anyway. But we'll pay the $20-$30 to watch Black Widow, and I think I think they're going to do. They haven't really said anything. They don't want to release on Disney Plus, but I think they're going to do half and half. They'll put it in theaters and put it on Disney Plus.
That makes sense. Let's go back to March Madness. We got Abilene Christian 49-47 up on Texas by 2. It's 3 minutes and 42 seconds. We'll keep you guys updated on that game. So we got WandaVision, The Eternals. Obviously, that's getting pushed back. We got Loki and Hawkeye coming to Disney Plus. Like, so this is the genius about. They did WandaVision. I think they were kind of like testing the waters with that.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was a massive hit. So then they're already doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Up next is, I believe, What If may be next. Loki and then Hawkeye. I mean, like, you're going to be set. And that's probably, here's the thing I'm thinking. They're probably going to lead this up to the next movie. So then they can go into full movie mode and drop, like we've been talking about. They got Thor, Black Widow, and all these other movies. Fantastic Four has been confirmed. Blade probably won't be till probably 2022 or 2023 maybe. So I mean, but they're methodical at this, that people are going to figure out a way how to watch it. Even if they don't have Disney Plus, they're gonna drop $8 and get it.
Yeah, Marvel's they're the best at what they do. Like you said, they took a chance on WandaVision. Like, say, we're going to release this first after they had a whole year off. Like they didn't release anything. They couldn't. So they couldn't film. So they said, we'll change up the phase 4. We'll drop WandaVision. Now we got Falcon Winter Soldier, 6 episodes of this. As you said, I think What If and Loki's next after that. And then if they drop Black Widow in May, that'd be the first movie. And then you still got Hawkeye. You still got, and this, like I said, this leads up to Thor. This leads up to Spider-Man, supposed to be dropping in December. They're filming that now. Yeah. So you got the third Spider-Man. You got Thor next year. This also sets up Doctor Strange, which WandaVision sets right into that. Like you said, even though WandaVision's not coming out with a second season, this leads up to her. She's confirmed to be in Doctor Strange. Agatha will probably be in Doctor Strange, so those characters will be in that movie. You got Captain Marvel too, so you just did Monica Rambeau in WandaVision, so you got to set that up. The ending of that's set up for that. So you got Captain Marvel, Black Panther. They're filming. They're still filming that right now. They're working on that. So, the story's going to be different. Unfortunately, the story's going to be a little different, but they'll do it right. I think they'll still continue to do that right. They'll do a legacy for Chadwick Boseman, and Siri will probably be Black. I know that was supposed to be the story later down the road, but they'll probably just put her in right as Black Panther. So they got that one, and then it sets up for another bigger movie, probably in about 2-3 years. And then you got Guardians 3. The Guardians 3 is coming out in a couple years too. So Marvel knows what they're definitely doing.
Oh, yeah.
X-Men, Fantastic Four. X-Men, Fantastic Four. Now that they bought the rights for them, they're coming. So much.
This is so much content. Like we got what we're talking about not right now is the next like 10 years of content. And then Thor, Love and Thunder, which I believe there's a female that's taking Thor's place. I think in that one. I got a friend of mine.
It's Jane. She was Thor's girlfriend in the first two. Jane Foster. Jane Foster's character is back. She's supposed to get the hammer, and that's the story. She gets sick. She gets the hammer. It's supposed to heal her. And I want to see how that's going to play out too, because Thor wasn't even, Chris Hemsworth wasn't supposed to even be in this one, and they were gonna do it without him. But I'm like, you got to do it with Thor. You got to have him in it. It's his movie. So, but he's confirmed he's supposed to do it. So that's going to be another one I'm looking to see, because Ragnarok was so good. The last Thor was so good. Yeah. I'm seeing what they're going to do with his character. Just changed from the first two Thors till now. His character has changed. So I'm looking to see what they're going to do with Love and Thunder.
Right. And then What If is kind of a series that explores what would happen if major moments from the films occurred differently So
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued at how this is going to work. This is going to be a 10-episode series, a part of Phase 4. But this is going to build. They can build off of this. I mean, they could do a what if movie. But I'm assuming it's going to be probably related to Avengers. They can give you a what if on that
Yep.
in game and in the first one. I mean, like it's genius. That's all I gotta say.
It's definitely genius, and I know some of the story of that. Like they say, okay, what if Peggy Carter, she was Captain America? Like that's one of those things. Like what if she was the one to get this? She got the serum, or when she was in the chamber and got to be Captain America. That's supposed to be another. I think. What if Black Panther was Iron Man? Like what if he was the one that was Iron Man, or stuff like that? So that's some of the storylines of that, or what if I forgot what character was. They got bit by the spider. They became Spider-Man. That's like one of those things. So I think that's gonna be cool. I was shocked. Like I'm not shocked at what Marvel does because I remember years ago talking to one of my comic book buddies when we were growing up, and we were like, "There's no way to be able to do like an Infinity War. It's too many characters. What can they do? Like so many characters." And they pulled that off. Like they had 60 characters in that, and they'd never be able to do an end game or anything like that. And they pulled it off. So to do a what if and to do WandaVision and all these other movies and shows, it's not surprised. I'm not surprised. Whatever Marvel does, they're on top. They're on top of their game.
Yeah, they are definitely on the top. Update on the score: 50-47. Abilene Christians up by 3. This could go horribly wrong again in the bracket.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, Texas. And I was expecting Texas. Shaka Smart's on the hot seat too. I don't know if they don't win this game. I'm assuming he's probably going to get fired because they already had him, on the hot seat before this went down.
Yeah. There's only a minute 19 left. They're down by 4.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. So man, Phase 4 is gonna be epic. I mean, we already seen I can't wait to see what the secrets we're gonna see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Episode 1, I even waited to the end of the credits in episode 1.
Right.
They didn't have anything in there, but I'm like, hey, like the next couple episodes, I'm sure they're gonna have some drops in there where you're gonna be like, oh, this is what we're doing, or this, it's gonna present some things that we probably want to see. Now, also, wasn't there? I guess they came out with the one with what is that called? Morbus. Was that already released?
Oh. I don't think so. I don't think that one has been released yet.
Yeah, that's. I know that was a movie with.
Yeah, I don't think that one.
What's his name? Jared Leto. That was Jared Leto's.
Yeah, that one hasn't been released. I know there was talk, but I don't think they've released that yet.
So they're looking at. Looks like 2022 on that one. So again, this is what we're saying. It's looking really good for Marvel.
Taking that year off, and they were gonna drop a bunch of stuff anyway. So they're like I said, they're on Phase 4, and they were like, okay, COVID stopped us in the 2020. Okay, we'll hit you with this in 2021. We can, we're seeing like TV shows now are figuring out how to film and figuring out how to do things, and so Marvel's like, well, we're backed by Disney, so we can.
That was the best. That was the best possible thing that they could have did.
Yeah, we can get the right protocols and keep people safe. So we have time to film. So let's just film these, and we can't get. I guess Ant-Man 3 is supposed to be dropping too. So it's another movie that's supposed to drop in like 3 years, 2-3 years. So the next 5 years is Phase 4. And I don't know if it was called Phase 5, and we might get, like I said, the new Avengers, where I think it's going to be Captain Marvel and. It was supposed to be Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Now you got all these other Wanda. You got all these other characters now. Right. So they're building a new Avenger team.
Avenger team, exactly.
Yeah, with Rhodey still involved. Like it's crazy. So I can definitely see Marvel doing another big movie in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So up by 4. What is it? Looks like 1:09 left. It's not looking good. Not looking good for Texas.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a lot of exciting things. We're gonna stay on until this game's over with, so you can see the score. We got the screen shared.
Yep.
We got Kai Jones leading the team in scoring. They only have 2 guys in double figures on Texas, and then Abilene Christian has 0 players in double figures, but everybody has scored except one guy. So that just tells you that they're spreading the ball around, doing everything they can to get everybody involved. So I don't know what happened to my camera, but I think this tournament obviously is going to be interesting moments to it. We're always going to see upsets. We're going to see different things happen, and I think that's what always makes the tournament great.
Yeah.
Great basketball. That's what always makes the tournament great basketball. You just don't know what's going to happen.
You just don't know. I mean, you're right. It's one of those things where anything can happen. Like you said, Texas, we thought they would play well. They're struggling to score. They only got 47 points. So Abilene Christian, like I said, I didn't see the whole game, but they must have had a great defensive game to hold Texas to 47 points. Yeah. So I'm watching it now, and was one of the players at the line for Texas. So. And hopefully they get this. Because I'm pulling for them to get this win, put it in overtime. So it's still a lot of time. 56 seconds is a lot of time.
Yeah, he got to make both of these free throws. He made the first one, and I think Andrew Jones is the kid that I think he had. Yeah, he's actually a cancer survivor. He had leukemia, and he ended up coming back to play. But we'll see what happens. I got Shaka on the sideline drinking some water. Yeah, your throat may be a little dry.
They're yelling.
Based on how this game is going.
Yeah, you better. Somebody got blood on the floor. It looks like somebody bleeding.
So that's going to be wrapping up the games of today. Let's pull up tomorrow's games. We can kind of give you guys a preview. I know we have Loyola, Chicago, and Baylor tomorrow. Loyola, Chicago, and Illinois tomorrow.
Yeah, Battle of Illinois. Basically, Battle of Illinois. State of Illinois is like, wow, that's gonna be a game. I know. See, Illinois is in that Midwest Division regional where there's a lot of like Houston. You got, like you said, Loyola, Chicago, Oklahoma State is in this bracket. West Virginia. I got West Virginia going pretty far. I got them in the Elite 8. So they're tough. Yeah. Rutgers. So Illinois is going to have to go through the gauntlet in their bracket.
Yeah, I got West Virginia in the Sweet 16. I got them losing to Houston.
Okay.
Houston with was that Calvin Sampson, I believe, is coaching that team.
Yeah.
They seem to be a pretty well put together team. So they've scored Texas has scored 1 point in the last 3 minutes and 54 seconds. That is
it's terrible.
that's heartbreaking right there.
Yeah,
especially
you go through these droughts.
Yeah, you can't go through a drought like that, especially in a tournament.
He made both free throws.
It's not gonna work out.
Made both free throws, so now they gotta.
They gotta play some D because this 56 seconds left. Other games for tomorrow: North Texas and Villanova. I'm interested in that one because North Texas with the upset. Once you get that one win, your confidence starts to boost, and your confidence starts to get shot up. So, going up against Villanova, though, that's not gonna be that's not a pushover, especially with Jay Wright and that any squad that Villanova has. Yeah. But if that they could be that Loyola team this year, they could be that Butler team this year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who do you have? Who do you have? North Texas and Villanova.
Man, that's gonna be tough because you said North Texas beat a pretty good Purdue team yesterday, and Villanova took care of business against Winthrop. I know there was a lot of people picking against Villanova. I was one of them. I picked Winthrop over Villanova. I don't know why I went against Jay Wright. Even one of their best players, even though they lost their best player, and Villanova down the stretch struggled, but it's Jay Wright. Like you said, any team he has, usually do well. It's funny. I had Nova that scratched them out. I was like, dang, Winthrop could upset them. This is not one of Villanova's best teams, but
Right.
it's Jay Wright, and Jay Wright has these guys playing. He could. I think they might beat North Texas tomorrow, and Nova can go on. They can go on a run. They've done it before. They've done it a couple of times over the last 5 years, I should say.
Yeah.
So Nova could actually go on a run, even with it not having one of their best players in the tournament.
Yeah, they're one of those sneaky teams that could definitely do that. Still 51-49 in this game. We'll see how this one goes. All right, we also have Oral Roberts in Florida. Both of them, I picked against Virginia Tech and Ohio State. So, I think Oral Roberts is probably going to bow out though.
Yeah,
I think that was a huge upset, but I don't see him going pretty much any further than that.
Yeah, me too. I think they beat Ohio State. It was, like I said, it was a huge upset. So yeah, I can see Florida taking care of business and beating them tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
they're letting the clock run. We'll see. Ooh, that was not a good play right there.
No, I turn it over. Yeah.
That was not a good play right there.
Yeah, you see the fan was like, she was frustrated.
Her face.
Texas got a shot. Run clock. Get a good shot.
Get a good shot. 27 seconds left.
Ooh, 3. Here we go. He hit it.
Ooh, I'm a little bit delayed.
Okay.
Was that who was that hit that? Oh, he was wide open too. He was wide open. 52-51 timeout.
He hit the 2 free throws and he hit the 3. Oh, there's that fan. It must be the wife, the coach's wife.
Yeah, they keep putting the camera on her.
Yeah, man. So yeah, no, they're Abilene Christian. They just used. I think they used their last time out also. So yeah, they got a real good shot.
Heartbreaker right there.
Ooh, still a lot of time. 16 seconds, 15 seconds. Man, yeah, it's man, this is March Madness, man. They big shots, even when you don't play well.
At its finest, March Madness at its finest, right here, right now.
Yep. Oh, she's like heartbroken already. It's like it's not over yet.
Yeah, you still got time. You just get your best shot. Get your best shot.
Play some. They got to play some D. Yep. Play some D. Force them to a bad shot. Don't foul.
Yeah. Do not. Yeah. Texas Tech and Arkansas. That should be a good game. I got Tech. I think I got Tech winning that one. No, actually, I got Arkansas winning that one.
Yeah, me too. I got Arkansas in the Elite 8 against Baylor, so I hope they could pull that out and get that win. Arkansas, real good, solid team. You think of Arkansas, you think of defensive team, tough and gritty, and they again one of those teams that can, 22-6. They had a really good record this season as well, and the number 3 seed.
Yeah. All right, let's see. It's gonna be the last play of the game. We'll see what they do here.
Yep. They're going full court too. So just don't foul, Texas.
Yeah, do not back away. If you play D, play up close D, but don't allow them to get the shot.
Ooh, they just dribbling. 4 seconds. Ooh, he blocked it. Oh, did they call a foul?
Yeah, he's just dribbling around.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, they called a foul.
Who is this guy that keeps going to the hole with these wild? That's the same guy that bounced the ball off his foot.
Yeah. Did they call a foul? Oh,
man. Yeah.
Ooh, he blocked it. Left. Oh, they called it that one on the rebound, I think. I just can't stand when that happens, man. When the refs call the foul, they gotta let them play. Unless it's like blatant.
Yeah. Was he? Is that a shooting foul? Was he in the shooting?
I think he was.
It looked like he was in the shooting motion.
He's looking at them like, really? He's like, really? Like, that was a foul? Like, come on.
All right, looks like they're gonna go to they got a timeout. So let's see what else we got tomorrow. Oregon State, Oklahoma State, the battle of the states. I got Oklahoma State. I think Cade Cunningham is gonna show up big time.
Yeah, me too. I think he didn't have such a good game. They still won. They played a tough Liberty team, but I think they take care of business. And funny thing is, Oklahoma State, I think they got underseeded on this one. I think they could have been somewhere like a higher seed, and maybe in a different region. They could have been a 2 or 3 seed, and they got stuck in with Illinois over here in that side. So maybe they should have been a higher seed, but I think Cade Cunningham, he'll take care of business tomorrow. Have a good game.
Yeah, and this kid going to the line a 53%.
Just gotta hit one. Hit one. Just hit one. Just tie it up.
Pressure cooker right now. Right now.
Yep.
It's a lot of pressure on this kid.
They got 1 second.
And it looks like they're reviewing. I don't know what they're reviewing.
Maybe they're reviewing some time. Maybe. Like, how much time does he have?
Also, as he's coming to the free throw line, a big matchup on Monday, Oregon and Iowa, number 7, number 2. Oregon, it's a lot of rest time since they last played. They didn't play the game today.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yes. I think hopefully I had them going into the Elite 8, so, but that's a lot, like I said, that's a lot of rest time for them. So, you hit the first. That's a lot of rest time to get. So we'll see. See if they could pull off against Iowa. Iowa's number 2 ranked in that bracket, that side of the bracket. So,
yep. And then LSU, Michigan. Michigan's I'm going to be paying a close attention to.
Yeah.
All Michigan. Right, do you hit the second one?
Yeah, hit both. 1 second left. See what they got. They about to pull it off probably. He hit them both.
That kid right there, 53% on the year.
Throwing a Grant Hill pass. Avalanche. They pulled it off.
Mine's delayed, but that is a Grant Hill. Intercepted. Wow.
Yep.
That kid right there, man. Give that kid whatever he wants.
Yeah.
First big upset. Upset. Number 14 beats Texas. As we are going live right now on the show, man. Big time win.
That's a huge win. And Texas, man, that foul call, it's like that's gonna haunt them. It's like, wow, it could have went either way, but people love the upsets, and this is what March Madness is all about. Yeah. About the upsets. They celebrate and jump on each other. They better be careful all that celebrate. It's all good, but you can't celebrate like you can't do all that like you used to. Man.
Can't do that anymore. Yeah, I mean, especially the way they're gonna be hard cracking down on these teams.
Yeah,
man. Texas out number 3.
I had them in a 16, man.
Yeah. Where did I have them? I had them in the Sweet 16 too.
Yeah. So Avalanche, I mean, if they pull it out and they can beat, they got to play UCLA next. So, hey, you never know. Yeah. They play good D, hit their free throws. The 53% foul shooter free throw shooter, he hit them both. Clutch.
Anything can happen in this tournament. At this point, man, everybody's bracket is busted unless you're some type of psychic or genius, because there's no way people pick Abilene.
I don't think so. I really don't think they did. I can't see.
The bigger one was Oral Roberts, which I know you said some people might have picked that one, but
yeah, like they took a chance, and I'd like reading some of the people that were predicting. They said that this could be an upset, but I don't know if they pulled the trigger on it though, just to pick it. But you never know. Maybe they did. Maybe they did pull. Some of them did call that one. So, but.
Yeah. All right. Well, we took you to the end of that game. We'll be back next Saturday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern. I'm sure we'll probably have some games on tap. We'll be going over our brackets again. We'll talk about where we are with the BS3 Radio Bracket Challenge. Thank you, Courtney, for coming on.
Yeah, man. Anytime, man. And thanks for giving us this platform once again. I'm just looking at the brackets now.
Yeah.
I got some. I'm in 11th in my work league, top 3 wins money, so not too far behind. Some people are just tied for second. A bunch of people tied for second and third, and so not too bad. I mean, right in the mix. So we'll see what happens tomorrow and Monday. So just wait till the Sweet 16.
Yeah, mine's I'm in 10th. You're in 8. You got 19. I got 17. The leader in the clubhouse is Will Walker of Will's Take on Sports. He's got 25.
Wow.
Nathan is at 23. Your man Jameis is at 23 as well.
Okay.
Blake Cochran of keepingithill.com, he's at 22. Mocha Bella's at 21. So that's the top 5 right there, leaders in the clubhouse, man.
Yeah, it's close. It's still real close. I guess it depends on now who gets 16 and the 8, because now the points double. So we'll check it out by Monday. We'll see where we all at.
Yep. We'll see where we are. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and click that bell. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. Also on Twitter, give us a retweet and a like. We thank you for tuning in. Vince Wright in the chat room, Tracy Porter in the chat room, Al High in the chat room, Chris Morning, Chief Rocka, and also Lucas Gunn. Thank you for tuning in tonight. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Peace. Oh, shout out to Aiden Barrett, big guy that was listening into the fantasy football shows. Thank you for coming through. Let us know how your bracket's going. We'll be back next week. Good night. God bless. God is love. Peace.
Peace.